What if the very thing you're chasing is running because you're chasing it? What if the peace you're begging for is waiting for you to let go? In this audiobook, you'll discover the quiet power of detachment, not as giving up, but as tuning in. The universe doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to alignment. So breathe, release, trust. Because what's meant for you will never miss you, and what misses you was never yours to carry. Chapter 1. The Power of Letting Go. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means releasing the tight grip of control and allowing life to unfold the way it's meant to. Most people hold on, not because things are working, but because they're afraid of what happens if they don't. But in truth, freedom begins the moment you stop holding on so tightly. It's the first breath after suffocation, the calm after the inner storm. We're conditioned to believe that control is safety, that if we micromanage our lives, nothing can go wrong. But control is a heavy illusion. It's a prison disguised as a plan. When we try to force outcomes, we end up exhausted, anxious, and disappointed. Letting go is the brave act of surrendering to the unknown, with trust that it's all working for us. When you let go, you create space for new blessings, new people, and new direction. Holding on keeps your hands full of what no longer serves you. How can you receive what's next if you're gripping what's already done? Letting go is not loss, it's alignment. True power doesn't come from control. It comes from clarity, the knowing that you're okay whether it happens or not. You stop attaching your worth to outcomes. You stop begging life to work. You begin living it with trust. That's real strength. That's real peace. Letting go doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice. You notice yourself clinging to an idea, a person, a timeline, and you gently release it, again and again. It's a daily decision to trust that what's meant for you will stay, and what leaves is not a punishment but protection. The mind will fight the unknown. It wants certainty, not mystery. But the unknown is where magic lives. That's where growth and miracles dwell. If you knew how everything would turn out, you'd never build faith. Letting go is the door to deeper trust in yourself and the universe. Often, we hold on out of fear that we'll miss out, be alone, or fail. But fear is not a foundation for a meaningful life. When you let go of what fear told you to keep, you make room for what love wants you to experience. You stop surviving. You start expanding. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care enough to allow things to unfold naturally. You detach with grace, not bitterness. You love from wholeness, not attachment. You begin to see that peace is more valuable than control ever was. There's a quiet confidence that comes with letting go. You no longer need to chase, prove, or beg. You begin to trust your worth so deeply that you don't need to fight for a seat at any table. You know that what aligns with you will find you without force. Think of a clenched fist, tight, tired, tense. Now imagine opening that hand, relaxed, receptive, calm. That's the shift letting go brings. You stop resisting life and start flowing with it. You go from fear-driven to faith-led. Control is heavy, surrender is light. One drains you, the other frees you. Letting go isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's knowing what you can influence and what you must release. It's trusting that you don't have to carry it all. You never did. People fear letting go because they confuse it with losing. But what if you're not losing anything? What if you're just clearing space for what truly belongs? Letting go isn't subtraction, it's sacred realignment. Letting go is also letting go of who you used to be, the version of you that needed approval, that feared rejection, that settled for less. You release the identities you outgrew. You step into the self you're becoming. Sometimes the greatest healing comes not from adding more, but from releasing what's been weighing you down. The burdens, the expectations, the attachments, all of it. Letting go is the first act of true self-respect. Letting go opens the door to clarity. When you're no longer clouded by obsession or fear, your mind becomes clear. You begin to hear your intuition again. You begin to feel your own energy without outside interference. This isn't about ignoring emotions or pretending everything is okay. It's about feeling everything, then releasing what isn't yours to hold. It's about processing, not clinging, healing, not hiding. Letting go is emotional intelligence in action. We all want certainty, but life doesn't operate on our deadlines. The more we try to control the outcome, the more we suffer. Letting go invites peace by trusting the process instead of fighting it. It says, I'm open, I'm ready, I release. Think of the seasons, they never force themselves. The trees let go of their leaves not in sadness but in wisdom, because letting go allows new life to grow. You are no different. Shedding the old is how the new begins. Letting go doesn't mean you won't feel pain. It means you won't live in it forever. It means you choose healing over replaying, growth over guessing. It's the silent decision to move forward, even when you don't have all the answers yet. You don't have to know how it will work out. Just trust that it will. Letting go is trusting that the energy you put out will return, maybe not the way you imagined, but better than you hoped. Life surprises those who stop forcing and start flowing. Your worth was never tied to what you held on to. The job, the relationship, the identity, those were chapters, not definitions. Letting go is realizing you are more than any one moment. You are the author, not the attachment. Lastly, letting go is an act of deep faith. It says, I don't need to chase what's mine. It says, I trust the unseen. It says, I choose peace over proof. And in that space, miracles are born. Because letting go doesn't end the story. It begins the next one. Chapter 2. Trusting the timing of your life. There's a quiet power in trusting the timing of your life, a wisdom that says, I don't need to rush what's unfolding. We live in a world obsessed with speed, but growth is rarely instant. Flowers don't bloom overnight. Mountains aren't formed in a day. Your journey too is unfolding in perfect time even when it doesn't look like it. We often feel behind because we compare our timeline to someone else's highlight reel. But your life isn't late, it's aligned. The things meant for you are not on someone else's path, and they're not on your rushed schedule either. Trusting the timing means releasing comparison and choosing presence. Every delay holds a lesson. Every detour carries direction. Sometimes the things you thought were setbacks were just sacred pauses preparing you for what you couldn't have handled back then. What feels like waiting is often transformation in disguise. When we try to force things before they're ready, we don't get alignment, we get anxiety. We chase outcomes and miss the lessons. Trusting the timing isn't about doing nothing, it's about doing what you can, then letting the rest unfold without pressure. You don't need all the answers right now. Life reveals the next step when you're ready, not when you're desperate. Trust is knowing the path is still forming under your feet. And even if you don't see the full map, the direction is already written. Impatience comes from fear, the fear that things won't happen. But trust comes from inner knowing, the calm certainty that what's for you can't miss you. One is frantic, the other is faithful. Choose faith. There's a sacred rhythm to life. Seasons, cycles, timing, everything follows a flow. When you align with that rhythm, you stop pushing and start receiving. You stop trying to force the door open and start trusting that the right door will open when you're truly ready. What you're asking for may be delayed, not denied. Sometimes life waits until your mind, heart, and environment are ready. Because rushing a blessing before you've built the capacity to hold it only turns it into a burden. Timing protects as much as it provides. Trusting the timing of your life also means trusting yourself, trusting that you're doing enough, that you are enough, that where you are right now is not a mistake, it's a chapter. And the next one will unfold right on schedule. It's easy to believe everything is against you when things take longer than expected. But what if nothing is wrong? What if life is rearranging people, circumstances, and timing not to frustrate you, but to favor you in ways you can't yet see? The universe is never late. Its silence doesn't mean denial. Its delay doesn't mean disapproval. It's always orchestrating things behind the scenes, people you haven't met, opportunities not yet revealed, strength you're still building. When you trust the process, you begin to relax into life. You stop panicking about every twist and turn. You start seeing divine timing in the delays, growth in the pauses, purpose in the waiting. Your peace is no longer tied to how fast things happen. Trusting the timing of your life doesn't mean giving up on goals. It means you move with intention, but without force. You plant seeds, but you don't scream at the soil. You water what you can, then let nature do its work. Patience is power. You'll never feel ready for the big moments if you keep believing you're late. The truth is, readiness is created by trusting the timing. It's built in the quiet work, the consistent effort, the grounded belief that everything is arriving on time. So breathe, stop rushing, stop comparing. Trust the unseen clock of your life. Because when you truly trust the timing, you live with peace in the now, not panic about the next. And that peace is what brings everything to you faster than fear ever could. Chapter 3. Release control, embrace flow. We spend so much of our lives trying to control the outcome, scripting every move, forcing every plan, fearing every detour. But control is an illusion, and the more you grip, the more you suffer. True peace doesn't come from control. It comes from trust, the kind that lets you loosen your hold and allow life to unfold. When you live in control mode, you're constantly resisting reality. You try to bend everything to your expectations, only to feel anxiety when it doesn't align. But flow begins where resistance ends. It begins when you stop fighting what is and start dancing with what could be. Embracing flow isn't about being passive, it's about being aligned. It's learning when to act and when to allow, when to push and when to pause. Life has a rhythm, and when you trust that rhythm, you begin to move with it instead of against it. The need for control often comes from fear that if you don't force it, it won't happen. But control restricts your vision. It narrows your awareness to what you want so badly that you miss what's better trying to reach you. Flow requires faith in what you cannot yet see. Control says, make it happen. Flow says, let it unfold. One drains you, the other sustains you. When you release control, you stop trying to manipulate every detail. You stop micromanaging life. You create space for miracles, for the unexpected blessings you didn't plan but deeply needed. Some of your greatest breakthroughs will come the moment you surrender. When you stop demanding answers and start listening. When you stop clinging to your timeline and start trusting divine timing. Life responds to surrender more than struggle. You don't need to fix every moment. Not everything is broken. Some things are shifting, evolving, healing, but that can only happen when you release the urge to interfere. Your job isn't to control everything. It's to trust what's being revealed, even if it doesn't look like what you imagined. Trying to control the journey blocks the natural flow of life. You become rigid, impatient, reactive. But when you let go, you start to notice the signs, the nudges, the synchronicities that were always guiding you. Flow invites awareness, while control invites tension. Letting go doesn't mean giving up, it means giving in to the greater intelligence of the universe. It's choosing alignment over force, ease over stress. You still take action, but not from panic, from peace. That shift changes everything. The more you try to control others, the more you lose connection. Flow honors freedom, your own and others. It teaches you to allow people to grow at their pace, love in their way, learn in their timing. Control builds walls. Flow opens doors. Your intuition speaks loudest in stillness, not struggle. When you release control, you create space to hear that voice. You begin to move from inner guidance instead of outside pressure. That's where your power lives, not in forcing, but in following the flow of what feels right. When you resist what life brings, you miss the lesson. When you embrace it, you unlock the wisdom. Control says, "This shouldn't be happening." Flow asks, "What is this here to teach me?" That shift opens your heart to growth. Most of your stress isn't about what's happening, it's about your need to control it. But stress melts when you start trusting, when you stop trying to fix the unknown and begin living in the now. That's where life flows freely in the present moment. You've been conditioned to believe control equals safety, but it's an illusion. Control is exhausting, flow is liberating. It's not about having no direction, it's about having direction without desperation. That's where your energy becomes limitless. Sometimes you have to let go of the plan to receive the purpose. Control keeps you fixated on what you think should happen. Flow allows what's truly meant to happen. And more often than not, what's meant is bigger and better than what you imagined. The journey gets lighter when you stop carrying the need to control. You begin to see life as a partnership, not a battle. You do your part, then you let the universe do the rest. That balance brings you peace, presence, and unexpected joy. Flow doesn't mean everything goes your way. It means you trust even when it doesn't. It's a mindset one that knows you are supported, even in silence, guided, even in chaos, and held, even in your hardest chapters. Release the pressure to force things into place. Life isn't a puzzle to be solved, it's a path to be walked. And when you walk it with openness, you begin to see signs everywhere. Evidence that life is responding to your surrender. Stop gripping, stop forcing, stop fearing every unknown. Breathe. Loosen your grip. Flow finds you when you finally say, "I don't have to control this to be okay." That sentence is your freedom. That surrender is your power. Control is heavy, flow is light. Let go of what you think should happen. Embrace what's unfolding. You'll find that life becomes more beautiful when you stop trying to drive it and start letting it carry you forward. Chapter 4. Detachment is not indifference. Detachment is often misunderstood. It's not about being cold or careless. It's about creating space between your identity and the outcome. It means caring deeply but not clinging desperately. It's choosing peace over obsession, alignment over attachment. When you're attached, you begin to confuse your worth with results. You base your self-esteem on whether things go your way. But detachment reminds you, your value is not defined by outcomes. You are enough, even when things don't unfold as planned. Indifference is apathy. Detachment is awareness. Indifference says, "I don't care." Detachment says, "I care, but I'm not controlled." There's power in being fully invested, yet emotionally free. You can give your best and still let go. You don't need to disconnect from emotion, you need to unhook from control. Detachment allows you to feel everything, but not be ruled by it. It gives you the ability to experience love, ambition, and hope without letting them become your identity. When you're detached, you can observe your life without judgment. You stop labeling every delay as failure, every rejection as personal. You gain clarity. You begin to respond instead of react. That shift is what creates emotional intelligence. Holding on too tightly suffocates the very thing you're trying to grow. Whether it's a dream, a relationship, or a goal, attachment can poison it with fear. But when you loosen your grip, you allow it to breathe, to expand, to evolve naturally. Detachment brings peace because it frees you from the emotional roller coaster of outcomes. You stop rising and falling with every external change. Instead, your peace becomes anchored in who you are, not in what happens. There is beauty in letting things be. When you detach, you stop trying to force people to act a certain way. You stop trying to fix everything. You let people show you who they truly are, and that truth becomes your clarity. Detachment isn't about withdrawal. It's about boundaries. It means protecting your energy from things that don't serve your growth. You no longer chase validation or cling to what drains you. You become grounded, not guarded. In detachment, there is freedom, the freedom to show up fully without fear. You can give love without needing it returned in a specific form. You can pursue success without losing yourself in it. That freedom is power. People may mistake your calm for distance, but what they're witnessing is inner strength. Detachment gives you the ability to stay rooted when life pulls at your edges. It gives you space to choose response over reaction, grace over urgency. You don't need to detach from life, you need to detach from control, fear, and scarcity. Detachment says, I trust the process, I trust myself. I trust what's meant for me will never require me to lose myself. When you operate from detachment, you shift from desperation to discernment. You no longer beg to be seen, chosen, or validated. You become the chooser of peace, of alignment, of what truly deserves your presence. Letting go doesn't mean you've stopped caring. It means you've started caring for yourself too. Detachment is how you stop betraying yourself for things that never valued you to begin with. It's how you reclaim your peace. You cannot force someone to stay, love, understand, or support. You can only hold space and let their truth rise to the surface. Detachment helps you accept reality without twisting it into fantasy. That's how you stop repeating pain. There's wisdom in surrender, not in giving up, but in giving space. When you detach, you give life room to surprise you. You give grace to yourself. And you let what's real stay, not because you held it tightly, but because it belonged. When you're overly attached, your joy becomes fragile. One bad outcome, and you collapse. But when you detach, you build inner strength. You learn to say, this didn't go how I wanted, but I'm still okay. That's emotional maturity. The things that truly align with you will never require anxious chasing. Detachment reveals what's real by allowing it to come or go without fear. If it's yours, it will stay. If not, you'll make space for something better. Your peace matters more than your pride. Detachment lets you walk away when your soul knows something isn't right, even when your ego wants to prove otherwise. You stop fighting to be seen and start choosing to be at peace. It's okay to want things, to hope, to try. But don't let your joy be held hostage by outcomes. Practice holding your desires lightly. Let your inner world stay calm, even when the outer world shakes. That's the gift of detachment. You are not here to control everything. You're here to experience, to evolve, to let go. The more you release, the more you receive. The tighter you cling, the more you repel. Let go not because you don't care, but because you finally do. Detachment is not the absence of love, it's the presence of balance. It's how you love without losing yourself. It's how you dream without destroying your peace. And it's how you rise, no matter what life brings. Chapter 5. When you stop chasing, it starts arriving. Chasing comes from a place of lack. It carries the energy of not enough, of desperation, of fear that if you don't run after it, it will never be yours. But the more you chase, the more you push it away. What you truly want flows to the version of you who no longer needs to run. When you stop chasing, you begin attracting. You stop grasping at people, dreams, or outcomes, and instead start aligning your energy with them. The universe responds to frequency, not force. Your stillness becomes a magnet when it's rooted in belief, not anxiety. There's a silent power in knowing what you want and not begging for it. When you chase, you tell the universe you don't have it. But when you hold calm expectancy, you create the space for it to come without resistance. That's when magic happens. Think about it. The sun doesn't chase flowers to bloom. It shines and they grow. You don't need to run after everything. You need to radiate your truth so clearly that what belongs to you finds you effortlessly. The version of you that chases is the one who doubts. But the version that trusts doesn't chase, they choose. They align, they allow. They know what's meant, won't miss them. And they don't need to exhaust themselves to prove their worth. Chasing drains your energy. It distracts you from becoming. You waste your time trying to convince, impress, and win approval when the real work is becoming so grounded in your value that you no longer feel the urge to convince anyone. Letting go of the chase doesn't mean giving up on the dream. It means stepping into alignment with it. Instead of saying, "Please choose me," you say, "I choose myself." That shift turns your energy from scarcity to abundance. People can feel when you're chasing. It comes off as pressure, insecurity, urgency. But when you stop chasing, you exude peace, wholeness, confidence. You become a frequency people want to be around, not one they feel burdened by. When you stop chasing love, the right kind of love finds you. When you stop chasing success, meaningful opportunities show up. The more you let go of the need to prove, the more you give life the freedom to deliver in unexpected ways. You are not supposed to spend your life running after everything. You're supposed to build a life so aligned, so grounded in truth, that the things meant for you feel drawn in, not pulled by force, but drawn by energy. Chasing creates noise. It clouds your intuition. It makes you settle for what answers your urgency, not your soul. But when you get quiet, when you stop the chase, you start hearing the whispers of your path again. It takes courage to stop chasing, to trust that what you're meant for will meet you where you are. But the moment you stop trying so hard to grasp it is often the moment it reaches out to you. The pause invites the arrival. Not everything requires pursuit. Some things require preparation. Instead of running after it, build yourself into the version who holds it with grace. The dream arrives when you're truly ready, not when you're exhausted from trying. The chase is based in time. I need this now. But alignment is based in trust. It's already on the way. You can live your life either rushing or receiving. The choice determines whether life feels like a grind or a gift. Every time you chase something, ask yourself, am I chasing this because I truly want it, or because I'm afraid without it I'm not enough? That question reveals where your power is leaking. Reclaim it through presence, not pressure. Abundance doesn't chase, it attracts. When you stop proving, stop begging, and stop running, you start becoming. And that becoming is what pulls the right people, paths, and possibilities into your orbit. Look back at your life, how many things came to you once you let go. That's not coincidence, that's energetic truth. The universe honors surrender far more than struggle. When you release, you signal readiness. You don't manifest by clenching your fists. You manifest by opening your hands, by knowing deeply that you're enough without it and still holding the vision. That paradox of desire and detachment is where manifestation lives. Your worth is not measured by how hard you chase. It's measured by how fully you embody. Embody peace, and peace finds you. Embody love, and love shows up. Stop running, start radiating. Let others chase noise you. Stay rooted in truth. Let others seek validation you. Stand in your knowing. When you stop chasing, you stop leaking energy. You begin to magnetize everything meant for your evolution. When you become still, you begin to see clearly. You stop forcing open, locked doors and notice the ones already open. The chase makes you blind. Presence gives you vision. And with vision comes wisdom. You've never needed to chase what was yours. You only needed to become the version of you who no longer doubts it. That version doesn't chase. That version receives. When you stop chasing, you begin to prioritize inner peace over outer approval. You start moving in silence, no longer broadcasting your every goal in search of praise. You become deeply rooted in your journey, not to prove, but to evolve. Letting go of the chase allows you to finally meet yourself. You turn inward and ask, what part of me feels incomplete? And then you begin healing that part, instead of seeking someone or something else to complete it. The universe responds to your state of being, not your effort to control it. When you shift from force to flow, you invite miracles. The things you once chased begin to appear not because you worked harder, but because you aligned deeper. The energy of chasing carries tension, fear, and impatience. But when you release that energy, you start moving from trust. Trust is magnetic. It tells life, I'm ready without needing to cling. And that calmness attracts everything faster. You were not meant to live in constant pursuit. You were meant to rise, align, and allow. Life isn't about frantic motion, it's about focused becoming. When you become what you seek naturally finds you. The right people won't need to be chased. The right opportunities won't require constant persuasion. What's meant for your soul won't need pressure. It will arrive when you're in alignment, not when you're in panic. Sometimes the delay is divine. The pause teaches you how to stop chasing and start trusting. The space between wanting and receiving is where your character gets built. Don't rush that space, become in it. When you chase, you're telling life you don't believe it'll come to you. But when you relax into expectancy, you shift the entire frequency. You're no longer a beggar of blessings, you're a carrier of them. You'll know you've stopped chasing when you no longer feel the urgency to be chosen. You don't chase people, outcomes, or timelines anymore. You trust that the ones who are meant to choose you already feel you, even in your silence. Many people never receive because they never stop chasing. They grip so tightly to what they want that they close the door to grace. Open your hands, soften your timeline. Let it find you when the moment is truly meant. The greatest strength is restraint, not in emotion, but in motion. The strength to sit still, to not chase, to breathe and believe. That strength tells the universe you're ready, not needy. Ready. Releasing the chase is how you reclaim your energy. You stop wasting time overthinking, overgiving, overdoing. You start conserving your focus, protecting your mind, and preserving your spirit. That's how you level up. The moment you stop running is the moment you realize how much was already available. Clarity arrives when you're no longer clouded by desperation. The answers you've been chasing were waiting for your stillness. What if what you're chasing is only avoiding you because you're chasing it? What if the chase is the very signal that you don't have it? Flip the script, start living like it's already yours, and watch how everything shifts. The energy of I need repels, but the energy of I trust attracts. It's not about pretending you don't want it. It's about trusting that your worth isn't based on whether you get it or not. That's the vibration of power. In silence, everything becomes louder. Your truth, your direction, your knowing. The chase keeps you distracted. Stillness brings you home. And when you're home within yourself, everything external starts moving in your favor. Let others run after validation. You stay grounded in self-respect. Let others chase clout. You build legacy. You don't need to sprint to arrive. You need to align and evolve. What's yours will recognize you in that state. Even your biggest dreams don't want to be chased. They want to be aligned with. They want you to rise to their level, not run beneath them. Meet your vision with inner work, not outer struggle. Then watch it rise to meet you. Becoming magnetic isn't about trying harder. It's about becoming clearer. Clarity is magnetic. Peace is magnetic. Wholeness is magnetic. Chase nothing. Cultivate everything. You are most powerful when you stop proving. You become untouchable when your identity isn't tied to any single outcome. The real glow-up is detaching from what drains you and attracting what builds you. You've spent too long running after things hoping they'll complete you. Now is the time to stop, turn inward, and become what you've been chasing. Once you do, life will chase you back. You never had to run after anything. You just had to remember who you are, whole, worthy, powerful. And from that place, you don't chase, you choose. You don't beg, you become. Chapter 6. How resistance blocks your blessings. Resistance is the silent wall between you and the life you're trying to manifest. It's not always loud. It often hides behind doubt, overthinking, control, or fear. But what it always does is close the door on flow. When you resist, you create energetic tension that blocks what wants to reach you. Every time you say, "It has to happen this way," you cut off 100 other ways it could happen. Resistance is rigid. It wants control. But blessings often arrive through the paths you didn't expect. The more flexible your energy, the wider your channel for receiving. When your mind clings to how things should be, you miss how things could be. Resistance is rooted in fear of the unknown, fear of disappointment, fear of surrender. But blessings live in the unknown. They require openness, not obsession. You can want something deeply and still block it completely. Why? Because underneath your desire is resistance. Resistance to being patient, to letting go, to trusting the process. That friction cancels out the frequency of your desire. Resistance often looks like control, the need to micromanage timelines, outcomes, and people. But control is born from fear, and fear cannot hold the energy of abundance. The universe responds to trust, not tension. When you resist, you shrink, you contract. Your body tightens, your heart guards itself, your thoughts loop in survival mode. In that state, blessings can't land. They need openness, space, expansion. Resistance builds walls. Receiving requires windows. Even your language can create resistance. Words like "I need," "I can't," "I have to" send out signals of scarcity. But when you shift to "I allow," "I trust," "I am open to," your energy softens and blessings begin to flow more freely. Most people think action creates results, but it's alignment that creates flow. You can take all the action in the world, but if you're moving from resistance, you'll just keep circling. You'll feel exhausted instead of elevated. Blessings aren't attracted to stress, they're drawn to surrender. When you hold on too tightly, you strangle the energy. It's like trying to receive with clenched fists. You can't. You have to release in order to receive. Resistance can show up as disbelief. If you want something, but deep down believe it's too big for you, you block it. The blessing may be ready, but your belief system won't let it in. That's why mindset work is spiritual work. So many people pray for miracles, but resist the steps that lead to them. They ask for love, but resist healing. They want success, but resist showing up consistently. They crave freedom, but resist letting go. Blessings require full energetic participation. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means loosening the grip that's choking your ability to receive. When you let go, you create space for grace, for miracles, for divine timing. Resistance is the voice that says, "Not yet." Letting go is the voice that says, "I'm ready." The body knows when you're in resistance. You feel it as tension in the chest, knots in the stomach, a racing mind. Pay attention. Your nervous system is a mirror of your energy. Peace is a signal of alignment. Restlessness is often a signal of resistance. You can't manifest something and then fight the path it takes to arrive. That's resistance in disguise. The universe speaks through detours. If you resist the route, you may delay the blessing. Stay open to the how, even when it's unfamiliar. Most resistance is unconscious. It's the conditioning you picked up that says, "I'm not enough," or "It's too late," or "People like me don't get that." These internal blocks act like energetic shields, keeping the blessing at arm's length. True surrender isn't passive, it's powerful. It says, "I've done my part, and now I trust life to meet me halfway." Resistance says, "If I stop pushing, I'll lose it." But the truth is, if you're in alignment, nothing meant for you can miss you. When you clear resistance, blessings come faster. People call it luck or divine timing. But often, it's just you finally getting out of your own way. The moment you stop blocking it, the things you've been asking for start showing up. Even resistance to being seen can block your growth. You want success, but are afraid of visibility. You want love, but fear vulnerability. You want more, but resist responsibility. To receive fully, you must also be ready to receive. Don't fight your resistance. Observe it. Ask what it's protecting. Many times, it's an old fear trying to keep you safe, but safety isn't always truth. The same wall that shields you from pain also keeps out your potential. You were not meant to live clenched. You were meant to open, to expand, to rise. Resistance is the final barrier between the life you dream of and the life you live. Break it by trusting more than you fear. You don't need to do more. You need to unblock more. Your blessings are already en route, but your resistance is the red light in the way. Shift your energy, and you shift your entire reality. Let today be the day you choose trust over tension. Let go of the outcome. Release the how. Align your energy with peace, and watch how effortlessly things begin to move in your favor. The blessing is not ferrets just waiting on you to stop resisting it. Sometimes resistance isn't loud, it's subtle, like procrastination, hesitation, or the constant urge to overplan. It looks like perfectionism, but it's really fear in disguise. That fear builds a barrier between your current reality and the next level you keep asking for. You may be doing all the right things, but if you're doing them while doubting yourself, you're canceling your own efforts. Resistance doesn't just block blessings, it distorts them. It makes what's meant to elevate you feel unreachable, when in fact it's just waiting for you to believe. The universe is responsive, not reactive. It doesn't respond to how hard you push. It responds to how aligned you are. Resistance tells the universe you're unsure, unready, or unavailable. And so, even the best opportunities pass by unnoticed or unused. When you try to control every outcome, you forget that some of the greatest blessings come from surprises. Resistance chokes spontaneity. It's the part of you that refuses to let go of the pen, even though life writes a far better story when you stop trying to force every chapter. You can't be in flow and in fear at the same time. One will always override the other. If your default is resistance, then even your manifestations come wrapped in friction. But when your default is trust, life becomes softer and everything begins to unfold more naturally. Resistance drains energy. It keeps you mentally exhausted, emotionally blocked, and physically tired. Not because you're doing too much, but because you're fighting too much. Letting go doesn't weaken your path, it clears it. People think surrender means being passive, but it's not. It's choosing peace over panic. It's making moves from clarity, not chaos. When you stop resisting, your mind becomes a channel instead of a cage. And that's when real creativity and clarity flood in. If your energy is constantly saying, "I don't trust this," then your life reflects that doubt. Opportunities hesitate to land where there's constant resistance. But when your energy says, "I'm ready, I'm available," the gates begin to open. Resistance is a silent prayer for things to stay the same. It may sound like you're chasing more, but deep inside, resistance is clinging to the familiar, even if that familiar is pain. Letting go means releasing your attachment to what used to feel safe, but now holds you back. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you're aligned with. And if resistance is your dominant state, then even your desires get rerouted. Blessings need openness. Resistance puts up a "do not enter" sign to the very things you're asking for. Even your past can become resistance. Constantly revisiting old pain, old stories, old failures creates emotional traffic. Blessings travel on clean roads. If your energy is cluttered with yesterday, how can today find space to grow? Resistance often hides in overthinking. You're not stuck, you're just spinning in circles trying to outthink a divine process. The mind cannot solve what the soul must surrender. Some things aren't meant to be figured out, only released. Healing is about releasing resistance. You don't need to become someone new to be blessed. You just need to release everything that tells you you're not already worthy. Beneath the resistance is a version of you that knows how to receive with grace. When you chase outcomes from fear, you invite results that match fear. But when you move from peace, everything begins to mirror that. Let your energy be the magnet. When you drop resistance, you start pulling instead of pushing. There's a reason. Meditation, silence, and stillness are powerful. They strip away resistance. They reconnect you to flow. They bring you back to the frequency of receiving. In stillness, you hear the guidance you missed while resisting. Blessings don't force themselves into your life. They wait for your permission. And permission comes when you soften, when you breathe, when you stop trying to control what was never yours to carry in the first place. If you're gripping too tight, ask yourself why. What fear are you feeding with that grip? What outcome are you terrified of losing? When you answer that, you'll understand your resistance. And once it's understood, it begins to dissolve. True surrender feels like peace, not panic. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop fearing. It means you trust the process, knowing the right things will arrive, not when you're tense, but when you're ready. Even small resistance can delay massive blessings. That one thought, "What if it doesn't work?" can stall a breakthrough. That one emotion, "I don't deserve this," can block a miracle. Your blessings are ready. The only question is, are you? The more you try to rush it, the more resistance you create. Your timeline is not the divine timeline. Let things unfold at the speed of alignment. Slow doesn't mean never, it means stable. Trust that pace. Every area where you feel stuck may not need more effort, it may need less resistance. Try removing force before you add more strategy. The solution may not be in what you do next, but in what you finally stop doing. To receive fully, you must be empty of fear, doubt, and obsession. You must create emotional space. That's the gift of releasing resistance. It frees you from chasing and opens you to attracting. And in that stillness, blessings don't just arrive, they flow. Chapter 7. Surrender is a strength. Surrender isn't weakness. It's choosing peace over panic. It's standing still when everything inside you wants to rush. It's realizing that forcing your way through life doesn't make you powerful. It makes you tired. Strength is found in the stillness where trust lives. When you surrender, you shift from trying to control everything to allowing what's meant to find you. You stop gripping life so tightly that it can't breathe. Surrender is not giving up. It's giving in to the flow of what's right, not just what's rushed. Many think surrender is a last resort, but in truth, it's the most powerful move you can make. It means you've finally understood that you can't manipulate divine timing. You no longer beg for doors to open. You walk in faith until the right one does. True strength is knowing when to act and when to wait. Surrender teaches you the sacred art of patience, not passive waiting, but powerful trusting. It's knowing you've done your part, and the rest is no longer yours to control. There's power in saying, I release this, not because you don't care, but because you care enough to not carry what's not meant for you. That release creates space. And from that space, clarity, healing, and alignment rush in like breath after suffocation. You don't have to know how it will work out to trust that it will. Surrender is trusting the unseen while staying grounded in who you are. It's walking in purpose even when the path is blurry. It's faith in motion. Surrender is strength because it puts your ego aside. It silences the part of you that screams, I must fix this now. It allows humility to rise and wisdom to speak. That inner quiet is where your real strength takes root. When you surrender, you stop fighting battles that were never yours to begin with. You stop arguing with reality and start aligning with truth. And that truth leads you to a more grounded, more elevated version of yourself. You don't lose power when you surrender. You just stop wasting it. You redirect it. You move from panic energy to presence, and presence is always more potent than pressure. Surrender strengthens your connection to life. You begin to listen not to your fears, but to your inner knowing. And from that knowing, you move differently. You speak softer. You wait longer. You choose better. The world teaches you to grind, to hustle, to never stop moving. But your soul sometimes needs stillness to realign. Surrender is how you return to yourself. It's how you tune out the noise and remember what truly matters. Surrender is an act of faith, not passivity. You still show up. You still dream. But you stop manipulating outcomes. You trust that what's meant for you will feel right, flow right, and arrive right, not forced or delayed by fear. Sometimes the strongest thing you can say is, I don't know, but I trust. That trust becomes your anchor when life is uncertain. It's not ignorance, it's wisdom clothed in grace. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you've chosen to care for your peace more than your pressure. You stop obsessing and start observing. You learn that peace isn't found in having everything, it's found in needing less control. When you try to control life, you live in resistance. But when you surrender, you live in flow. That doesn't mean you stop working, it means you stop working against yourself. You start building with the wind, not against it. Surrender is how you soften without shrinking. It's how you become strong without becoming hard. It's how you stay rooted while letting the storm pass through. The tree that bends is the one that survives. It's easy to fight. It takes true strength to surrender, to say, This pain is not mine to carry alone, to ask for help, to let go of pride, to trust that healing doesn't always look like control. That's the courage surrender demands. You don't need to fix everything. Some things need space, not solutions. Surrender teaches you to create space for grace, for growth, for guidance. It's in that space that the miraculous enters. The greatest breakthroughs often come right after surrender. That moment when you stop pushing and just breathe, that's when the shift begins. Not because you forced it, but because you finally allowed it. Surrender doesn't mean abandoning your dreams, it means releasing the pressure to force them into existence. You still move, but you move in peace. You still strive, but you're no longer driven by fear. You let life meet you halfway. You were never meant to carry everything. Some burdens need to be laid down so you can rise. Some chapters need to close so new ones can unfold. Surrender is how you say, I trust life to lead me somewhere better. At its core, surrender is self-love. It's saying, I deserve peace. I deserve alignment. I don't need to earn everything through struggle. That belief alone is strength. And from that strength, you become unstoppable not by force, but by flow. Surrender is not quitting. It's choosing a different kind of power. A quieter one, a knowing one. When you stop forcing, you invite real clarity. You see people more clearly, feel yourself more deeply, and move with intention rather than reaction. There is deep intelligence in letting go. It's your soul telling you that the struggle you're holding isn't aligned with your truth. That maybe the things you're gripping the hardest are the exact things holding you back from peace. In the space of surrender, healing begins, because you stop picking the wound, you stop obsessing over the outcome. And in that stillness, your spirit starts to repair itself without noise, without rush, without needing applause. You don't have to understand every detour to trust the journey. Surrender says, even if I can't see the full path, I'm still going to walk it with faith. That level of trust creates spiritual momentum far stronger than any fear. Many never experience peace because they're too addicted to control. They believe safety comes from knowing every step. But real peace comes when you trust life to carry you not because you're in charge, but because you're aligned. There is nothing more powerful than a calm person in chaos. That's what surrender does. It doesn't remove the storm, it teaches you how to stay steady in it. It gives you the ability to respond instead of react. You weren't designed to carry everything. Life gets heavy when you try to hold what was never yours. Surrender lightens the load not by solving every problem, but by releasing what's out of your hands. Control is fueled by fear. Surrender is fueled by trust. When you begin to trust yourself, your path, your timing, you naturally stop trying to micromanage every moment. You begin to breathe with the rhythm of life instead of resisting it. It's okay to not have all the answers. Surrender gives you permission to be human, to feel, to fall, to pause, to grow. The world may demand perfection, but your soul craves presence. And surrender gives you that. When you stop chasing, you find peace. When you stop forcing, you find flow. And when you surrender, you find your center, that sacred space inside you that always knew you were enough. Sometimes you think holding on is strength, but often it's letting go that takes more courage. It takes strength to walk away, to pause, to release the outcome and say, I trust what's unfolding. When you surrender, the universe speaks louder. You start noticing signs, synchronicities, and quiet nudges, because your energy is no longer chaotic. You're no longer trying to override life. You're listening to it. Surrender is the doorway to transformation. Because when you stop being who you think you need to be, you become who you really are. And that version of you is not built on fear. it's built on trust. Not everything needs to be pushed. Not every battle needs to be fought. Surrender teaches you the wisdom of choosing your energy wisely. You learn when to act and when to be still. That discernment is strength. The need to control often comes from childhood wounds, where unpredictability created fear. But healing begins when you realize the present moment is safe, and you no longer need to grasp for control to feel secure. You won't miss what's meant for you when you surrender. In fact, surrender ensures that what's truly aligned can reach you without distortion, without fear blocking the way, without resistance slowing it down. Surrender is self-respect. It's saying, I refuse to exhaust myself over things that are not mine to carry. That boundary protects your energy, your heart, and your ability to stay open to real love and purpose. There's peace in surrendering your timeline. When you stop measuring your life against others, you begin to enjoy your own rhythm. You stop racing and start rising slowly, intentionally, powerfully. People may mistake your surrender for silence, your stillness for stagnation. But don't worry, they don't need to understand your process. You're not here to impress, you're here to align. Let your peace speak louder than your hustle. It's not easy to surrender, especially in a world that glorifies control. But the most profound transformations often happen when you finally say, I let go. Not because you're done trying, but because you're ready to trust something higher. Surrender doesn't mean you stop desiring. It means you stop attaching your worth to the outcome. You can still dream big, but your peace doesn't depend on whether or not it happens. That's emotional freedom. The moment you surrender, your nervous system relaxes, your mind clears, your heart opens. And in that openness, you begin to receive what your control was blocking all along: peace, direction, and the next right step. Chapter 8. You are always guided, even in silence. There are moments when life feels still, almost too quiet. In that silence, it's easy to doubt, to wonder if anything is happening behind the scenes. But that stillness isn't emptiness, it's alignment. You're being guided, not with noise, but with nudges only your soul can hear. Guidance doesn't always come in the form of answers. Sometimes it comes as a gentle whisper of peace when you think everything is falling apart. That calm is not random, it's direction. It's the universe telling you, keep going, you're not lost. You may not always feel the path under your feet, but the path is always there. Each step, even when uncertain, is part of the unfolding. Silence is the language of the divine. And if you learn to sit with it, it will reveal more than any external noise ever could. When life quiets down, your intuition grows louder. You begin to notice things others miss. You become sensitive to energy, to people, to moments that feel like déjà vu. That's not coincidence, it's confirmation. You're tuned in to something higher. We're taught to expect loud signals, a clear voice, a perfect sign, an exact roadmap. But real guidance is rarely like that. It's subtle, a repeated thought, a recurring dream, a persistent feeling. It's the universe tapping your shoulder and waiting for you to notice. Sometimes your confusion is sacred. It's the fog before the breakthrough. In that fog, you're not abandoned, you're being asked to trust without proof. That kind of trust rewires your soul. It turns doubt into devotion. Even your detours are guided. The relationships that didn't last, the doors that didn't open, the jobs you didn't get, they weren't failures, they were redirections. Proof that something higher has always been steering you away from what's not meant. When nothing makes sense, that's often when the most transformation is happening. The universe tears down your false sense of control so that it can rebuild you with truth. Silence is not absence, it's preparation. You've felt it before, that unexplainable peace in the middle of chaos. That's your proof. That's your inner compass aligning with something unseen. You may not know the whole map, but you're being guided step by step. You don't need a loud sign to know you're on the right path. Peace is the real sign. If something brings clarity, even if it's hard, that's guidance. If something drains your soul, even if it looks good on paper, that's redirection. Silence forces you to listen differently, not with your ears, but with your heart. And once you train yourself to trust that kind of listening, you never get truly lost again. You learn to move not by sight, but by energy. You are not forgotten. You are being shaped. Just because you can't see movement doesn't mean it's not happening. Seeds grow in darkness, and so do you. The quiet seasons are the soul's greatest classroom. When you're in silence, your connection to Source strengthens. There's no interference, no static, just a direct line between your spirit and the divine. You begin to feel your way forward, and that's a more powerful guide than logic. You might feel alone, but you've never been without guidance. Even in your darkest hours, something inside you kept going. That something is not weakness, it's the inner voice of your higher self, reminding you that your story isn't over. Life doesn't yell when you're off track. It gently nudges you with discomfort, misalignment, restlessness. Don't ignore those signs. That's your soul signaling you to realign. The pain is often the message. It's okay to not know where you're going. The truth is, clarity comes in layers. You get just enough to take the next step, and only when you take it does the next one appear. That's divine guidance. It teaches trust through motion. There is wisdom in waiting. When nothing seems to be moving, your spirit is being recalibrated. You're being cleared of noise, distractions, and false identities. You're not stuck, you're being still to strengthen your next leap. Stop demanding loud answers. Start asking quieter questions. Ask, what feels light? What brings peace? What drains me? The answers are already in you, the silence is just giving them space to speak. When life goes silent, most people panic, but the ones who trust, they evolve. They know silence is sacred. It's where strength is born, clarity is nurtured, and alignment is found. You are being guided, even now. Not everyone will understand the path you're on, and they're not supposed to. Your guidance is uniquely coded to your frequency. Others won't hear what you hear or feel what you feel. That's not loneliness, that's protection. Your story is being written in spaces unseen. Your healing is unfolding between the lines. Trust the quiet. Trust the pause. Trust that what's forming in stillness is bigger than anything you've had to force. In a world that rewards noise, be someone who trusts the quiet. Let silence shape your strength. Let trust replace urgency. You don't have to chase alignment, you just have to stop running from it. Guidance doesn't always need a signpost. Sometimes it's a sudden sense of peace after making a decision, or a moment of stillness that whispers, "This is right." When you stop expecting loud directions and start tuning into subtle feelings, everything becomes a message. Your path is not linear, and neither is your guidance. It bends, folds, and loops in ways you may not understand in the moment, but with time, clarity arrives. What seems like confusion now often turns into a beautifully connected thread later. Silence reveals the strength of your own wisdom. When you quiet the external voices, you begin to hear your inner guide more clearly. That voice has always been there beneath the fear, beneath the noise waiting for your attention. There's something sacred about doing what feels right, even when no one else gets it. That's alignment. You don't need validation when your soul is at peace. Trust the internal yes. It's wiser than 1,000 outside opinions. When you release the need for constant confirmation, you reclaim your power. You stop outsourcing your direction. You begin to realize that you were never lost, just disconnected from your deeper knowing. Every time you feel stuck, ask yourself, what is this moment trying to teach me? The lesson is the guide. The resistance is the message. The delay is the preparation. Nothing is wasted when you're paying attention. Silence isn't a punishment. It's a purification. It filters out the unnecessary, so only truth remains. That's why silence feels uncomfortable. It's asking you to face your inner self without distraction. The more you sit with silence, the more you realize how loud your soul truly is. The clarity you seek isn't found by doing more, but by becoming still enough to hear what's already speaking inside you. Guidance doesn't always show up as light. Sometimes it's a closed door, a heavy feeling, or a sudden sense of being off. These are not to be ignored. They are sacred red flags, designed to protect you from misalignment. When you stop fighting the silence and start embracing it, you open a doorway to divine wisdom. You begin to see the invisible patterns, the perfect timing, and the gentle way the universe moves everything into place. You don't need to figure it all out. That pressure is what disconnects you from guidance. Let yourself trust what feels aligned, even if you don't have all the evidence. Faith is often the first step to receiving clarity. So many people are looking for loud signs, when what they really need is quiet faith. Your next step might not be shouted. It might simply feel light, calm, and effortless. That's the language of true alignment. Your inner compass always works, but only if you stop spinning the needle. Calm your thoughts. Breathe. Stop searching so hard, and you'll realize the answers are rising within you like the sun behind the clouds. The universe speaks in flow, not force. If you feel like you're pushing uphill, maybe it's not the right hill. Alignment doesn't require aggression. It requires attention to the way things feel, not just the way they look. If you ever feel lost, go quiet. Walk in nature. Listen to music that moves you. Journal. Sit in stillness. These are not wasted moments. They are sacred rituals of reconnection with your inner guide. The people around you may not understand your quiet season, and that's okay. Silence isn't about them. It's about you rediscovering who you are without the noise, the pressure, or the need to please. Don't confuse lack of movement with lack of guidance. Sometimes the most powerful growth is invisible. Roots don't show while they're strengthening, but they're doing the most important work beneath the surface. In silence, you start recognizing patterns, how certain things keep returning, how energy shifts around specific people, how your body reacts to different choices. This awareness is guidance in its most honest form. You are not disconnected. You're just being refined. Sometimes the universe pulls you inward before it pushes you forward. It's in the silence that your inner strength is sharpened. The still moments are when healing happens. Old beliefs surface. Emotional weight rises. It can feel overwhelming, but that's not chaos, it's cleansing. You're being guided to release what's no longer yours. There's a soft knowing that grows when you stop demanding certainty. You begin to feel held by something larger. It's not always logical, but it's always true. You may not be able to explain it, but deep down, you know. Let this chapter be a reminder. Silence doesn't mean you're alone. It means you're listening. And the more you listen, the more clearly you hear the truth that's been waiting patiently beneath the noise. Chapter 9. Align with peace, not panic. Peace is a frequency, not a reward. It's not something you earn after everything is fixed. It's something you choose in the middle of the unknown. When you align with peace, you stop needing everything to make sense before you allow yourself to breathe. Panic is the mind's way of trying to control what it doesn't understand. But peace is the soul's response to remembering it doesn't have to control everything. You're allowed to be calm, even when life is not. You don't rise by resisting what is. You rise by softening into what's here. Peace doesn't mean you're passive. It means you trust. It means you know force isn't the same as power, and reaction isn't the same as alignment. There's a stillness in you that's deeper than the chaos around you. It's not found through distraction, but through presence. When you stop fighting the moment, you remember that peace was always within reach. Panic is loud, fast, and reactive. Peace is quiet, slow, and steady. And while panic can feel urgent, peace is what's actually effective. From peace, you choose wisely. From panic, you only escape blindly. In panic, you chase what's not yours. In peace, you attract what's already aligned. One drains you, the other restores you. The more you choose peace, the more clearly you see what deserves your energy. You can't force alignment through stress. You can only return to alignment through surrender. Stop overthinking your way into burnout. Start breathing your way into clarity. Peace is a practice, a decision you make again and again. It's choosing stillness when the noise invites you to react. It's saying, I trust life, when every fear says you shouldn't. Don't wait for everything to be perfect to feel peace. Feel peace, and let that create your next perfect step. You become magnetic when your energy is calm, because calm creates space for real connection. When you align with peace, you become harder to provoke. You stop handing your power to circumstances. You stop letting moods and people decide your mindset. You remember, energy is yours to guard. It's not about ignoring your emotions, it's about regulating them. Panic tells you to run. Peace tells you to breathe. One pulls you into reaction. The other guides you into wise response. You'll be tested often, not to break you, but to teach you how to return to your center. Every moment of chaos is an invitation. Will you spiral outward or anchor inward? Most people live in panic because they haven't practiced peace. But the more you pause, the more you choose presence, the more peace becomes your default, not your exception. Peace is more than a feeling, it's a foundation. It's what you return to when fear knocks. It's what reminds you that things are unfolding, even when they seem still. That life is flowing, even when it looks stuck. You don't find peace in the outcome, you find it in your alignment. You find it when your thoughts, feelings, and actions support your truth, not your fear. There will be moments when peace feels impossible, when anxiety clouds your mind and the unknown feels unbearable. That's when peace matters most. That's when choosing stillness becomes strength. Start small. Breathe. Observe. Let go. Let the silence speak before you do. Let your nervous system reset. Let peace interrupt your panic before it becomes your personality. You were not born to live in a rush of cortisol. You were born to move with purpose. You were built for clarity, not chaos. You are designed for alignment, not anxiety. Make peace your home. Make it your anchor. Choose it even when your mind offers panic. Remind yourself, you can think clearly later, but peace is how you survive now. Nothing is more attractive than a calm soul. Nothing is more magnetic than someone grounded in peace, because people feel it. Energy doesn't lie. And peace is the most powerful frequency in the room. Every time you feel pressure to fix, chase, or panic, pause. Ask yourself, what would peace do right now? Then follow that answer. That's the version of you aligned with wisdom, not fear. Let peace be your baseline. Let it guide your tone, your choices, your pace. When peace leads, panic fades. When you move from peace, everything that's meant for you arrives not with a crash, but with quiet certainty. Peace is not the absence of noise, but the ability to remain steady in the middle of it. It's your internal decision to not let the storm outside dictate your weather within. You choose it when you pause, when you breathe, when you don't bite the bait. You don't owe everyone a reaction. You don't have to match the chaos of the world to prove you care. Sometimes your calm silence is the loudest statement, a refusal to be pulled out of alignment by anything unworthy of your energy. Panic wants everything now. Peace trusts divine timing. When you're peaceful, you no longer rush what's meant to be slow. You understand that force fractures, but flow fortifies. You don't chase, you magnetize. In moments where fear tries to grip you, go inward. Ask yourself, what story am I believing that's causing panic? Almost always, it's a lie rooted in lack, not truth rooted in power. Real peace begins when you stop believing every fearful thought. Let people around you be in a hurry. Let them live in reaction. That's not your path anymore. Your path is intentional, deliberate, sacred. You're building from peace, and that foundation will outlast the panic of everyone sprinting with no direction. There's an elegance in peace, a quiet confidence. It's not loud, but it speaks volumes. When you walk into a room grounded in peace, you shift the energy. You don't need to explain your power, people feel it. It's not your job to carry everyone's chaos. Protect your energy. Say no with calm. Exit conversations that pull you into urgency. You're allowed to disconnect from environments that confuse movement with progress. You don't have to explain why you're calm. You don't need to defend your peace. The more deeply you embody it, the more you inspire others to do the same. Let your serenity be your leadership. Start noticing what triggers your panic. Is it rushing, overcommitting, pleasing, performing? These are all signs you're outsourcing your worth. Peace reminds you that you're already enough, even when you're doing less. You'll make better decisions when you're at peace. You'll communicate more clearly. You'll see the bigger picture. From peace, you'll choose based on vision. From panic, you'll choose based on fear. One builds, one breaks. If something threatens your peace, pause before engaging. Not everything requires your attention. Most of the time, your silence speaks louder than your defense. Peace is not passivity, it's power with precision. The world profits off your panic. It sells solutions to the chaos it creates. But peace can't be bought. It's cultivated. It's a muscle. You train it daily in how you respond, how you think, and what you allow into your mind. You don't have to win every argument. You don't have to fix every misunderstanding. Peace teaches you to prioritize your energy over your ego. If you're choosing peace, you're already winning. Breathe. Seriously slow, deep breath. Feel your body return to this moment. That breath is your anchor. That breath is your reminder that you're still here, still whole, still in control of how you carry this life. Panic lies. It exaggerates. It convinces you that disaster is the only outcome. Peace brings perspective. It reminds you that you've survived before, that not every feeling is a fact. That calm clarity is always an option. Protect your mornings. Start your day with peace before the world's noise tries to hijack your mindset. How you begin sets the tone. Choose stillness. Choose grounding. Let your day flow from inner quiet, not external pressure. There's strength in not reacting, in observing, in responding when ready, not when triggered. That pause is peace. It saves relationships. It protects your energy. It turns moments of chaos into moments of wisdom. Every time you return to peace, you're rewiring your nervous system. You're teaching your mind that safety doesn't come from control, but from surrender. That calm is not weakness, it's maturity. Let go of urgency. Let go of the pressure to perform. Let go of the timeline that's not even yours. Peace says, I'm not behind. I'm exactly where I need to be. Panic can't exist where presence lives. You're not ignoring reality by being peaceful. You're shifting your power within it. You're choosing to respond with strength, not spiral with fear. You're moving differently now because your energy matters. Peace doesn't mean nothing's happening. It means you trust what's happening, doesn't need your panic. That life is still working in your favor even if you can't see how yet. The more you live from peace, the more you become a mirror for others to find it too. Be the reminder in a world that glorifies urgency that calm is a superpower. Let peace be your protest. Let peace be your revolution. Chapter 10. Letting go makes room for the right things. Letting go isn't about loss, it's about space. It's about clearing what no longer aligns so something better can arrive. You cannot receive with closed fists. When you loosen your grip on what's not serving you, you create room for what will. We often hold on to things out of fear. Fear of being alone, fear of failure, fear of the unknown. But fear keeps us clinging to comfort even when that comfort is crushing us. Letting go is the ultimate act of faith. It says, I trust there's more. Holding on to what hurts doesn't heal you, it hardens you. You build walls where you need windows. You protect wounds instead of transforming them. Letting go means choosing to stop reliving the pain and start rewriting the story. Not everything that comes into your life is meant to stay. Some people, habits and thoughts are chapters, not the whole book. The longer you try to force permanence where there's only a lesson, the more peace you push away. Letting go doesn't mean erasing the past, it means releasing its control. It means you honor what it taught you, then step forward without dragging it like a weight. You don't need to keep carrying what has already completed its purpose. You're not weak for walking away, you're wise. You're choosing alignment over attachment, you're choosing growth over guilt. Letting go isn't quitting, it's knowing you deserve something more aligned, more alive, more real. There's freedom in releasing what no longer fits. The moment you let go, your hands are open again. You stop gripping tightly to old patterns, and suddenly, life can breathe through you again. There's oxygen in release. The more you let go of what drains you, the more you realize how light you were meant to feel. We normalize heaviness so much, we forget what it's like to feel free. You deserve lightness. You deserve ease. You just have to choose it. Letting go creates clarity. It removes the noise. It silences the distractions. Suddenly, you see what was always there but buried beneath your attachment, your truth, your power, your peace. You don't need to explain your release. Not everyone will understand the boundaries you set, the shifts you make, or the exits you choose. But your healing doesn't need permission, it needs your protection. When you hold on to things out of habit, you create emotional clutter. That clutter blocks intuition, drains energy, and clouds your decisions. Letting go is spiritual decluttering. It sharpens your vision and restores your strength. The right things don't require you to shrink, chase, or beg. They flow, they fit, they nourish. But they often can't enter until you release what's occupying their space. You can't invite in peace if chaos still has the keys. Grief may follow letting go, but growth will follow grief. You'll mourn what's gone, but you'll also begin to bloom. That's the paradox. Release hurts before it heals, but the healing is always more powerful than the pain. Sometimes letting go isn't loud, it's quiet decisions, silent boundaries, gentle shifts in energy. You don't need dramatic goodbyes. Sometimes you just need to stop showing up where your soul no longer feels safe. Release expectations that were never yours to carry. Release timelines that were built from comparison. Release roles that kept you small. You're allowed to evolve. You're allowed to start again. You're allowed to change. Your next chapter doesn't need your past to approve. The most powerful transformation begins when you let go of needing things to look how they used to. Letting go gives life permission to surprise you with something better. Let go of resentment. It keeps you tethered to stories that no longer serve you. Let go of perfection. It keeps you paralyzed. Let go of who you were expected to be so you can finally become who you really are. Letting go is a daily practice. It's not one big moment, it's hundreds of small choices. Each time you say no to what drains you and yes to what heals you, you're letting go of one life to build another. Release doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough about your energy to no longer place it in empty places. It means you care enough to choose peace again and again. If you want to rise, you must release. You must detach from the weight that keeps you grounded in fear. Letting go is how you grow wings. It's how you become who you were always meant to be: unburdened, unbound, unstoppable. You don't find the right life by clinging to the wrong one. You don't find your power by staying stuck. Every time you let go of what's not yours, you take a step toward what is. Your next level is waiting, and it's lighter than you think. Letting go isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It means you've outgrown what no longer fuels your spirit. Sometimes, what once served you becomes what now stifles you. And the strongest move is choosing freedom over familiarity, even when it's hard. When you release, you're not just removing something, you're reclaiming space. You're making room for clarity, for peace, for what aligns with your evolution. You're allowing the next chapter to breathe, instead of letting the old one suffocate it. You can't fill your life with purpose while it's still full of past, just like you can't download a new program without deleting the one that's crashing your system. Clearing out isn't about loss, it's about better function, deeper meaning. People often fear letting go because they confuse it with being empty. But the truth is, emptiness is the first step to being filled correctly. Letting go creates sacred emptiness space that invites the right things to finally enter. There's power in the pause that follows release. In that quiet moment after you let go and the world feels still and unsure, that's when you meet yourself. That's when your intuition speaks loudest. That's when transformation begins. Stop watering dead plants. Stop feeding what no longer grows. Your energy is too sacred to waste on anything that doesn't nourish your soul. What's meant to grow with you will never ask you to shrink to stay. Letting go is alignment in action. It's when you choose to match your decisions to your higher self, not your past self. It's when you stop settling for less than what you were created for. Sometimes you hold on because you remember the good times, but memory is not always a reason to stay. A chapter can be beautiful and still be finished. You're allowed to carry gratitude and move forward at the same time. You don't owe your past a lifelong loyalty. You owe your future a clean start. You owe your present your full presence. And that means knowing when to release the old to make space for what's now. Letting go is an act of deep self-respect. It says, I'm done repeating the same lesson. It says, my peace matters more than this pattern. It says, I'm no longer sacrificing myself for the comfort of others. Don't confuse struggle with strength. Holding on out of fear doesn't make you committed, it makes you stuck. True strength is walking away when your soul is screaming for change, even if your comfort zone begs you to stay. The longer you delay release, the longer you delay your real life. The one that's built for your purpose, not your past. The one that moves with your truth, not with fear-based habits you've outgrown. Release also invites revelation. When the noise clears, you hear things you missed before your true needs, your quiet dreams, your heart's deeper wisdom. Letting go isn't an end, it's an awakening. Some doors close not because of failure, but because your spirit has evolved. What once resonated now feels heavy because your frequency has changed. Respect that. Honor the closing. Trust the shift. The need to control is often just a fear of letting go, but the illusion of control only brings tension. Surrender, instead, brings power, because it opens your hands to receive what's truly yours. Letting go is how you show life you're ready. Ready for better love, ready for real alignment, ready for your next level. Holding on is like shouting, "I don't trust what's coming." Letting go is whispering, "I do." The people who are meant for your future won't require you to betray your peace to keep them. The opportunities meant for you won't demand you silence your intuition to accept them. Trust the release. Don't romanticize what drains you. Nostalgia can lie. It can dress dysfunction in fond memories. Be brave enough to look at what's real, not what's remembered. You can love something and still know it's time to let it go. The greatest breakthroughs often follow the biggest releases. The moment you drop what you've been clinging to, life rushes in with new breath, new opportunities, new clarity. You'll ask why you waited so long. Letting go doesn't happen once. It's a practice, a continual choosing of what aligns over what's familiar. A daily decision to prioritize peace over proving, love over lack, freedom over fear. You're not late. You're not behind. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. And letting go is part of your alignment with that truth. With every release, you become more of who you were always meant to be. If it costs your peace, it's too expensive. If it limits your light, it's time to let go. You weren't born to carry what was never yours to hold. Let it fall away and rise into the space you've cleared for healing, for truth, for joy. Chapter 11. Trust is the gateway to receiving. Trust is not passive, it's powerful. It's a declaration to the universe that you believe in timing greater than your own, that you no longer need to force or beg or chase, that you know what's meant for you is already aligning behind the scenes, even if you can't see it yet. Receiving starts long before anything arrives. It begins in the mind. In the moment you say, "I believe it's possible," that belief sends a signal. It shifts your energy from scarcity to readiness. And the universe doesn't respond to desperation, it responds to that quiet confidence. Most people want to receive but still live in fear. They ask for abundance but expect lack. They pray for love but prepare for abandonment. Trust is the bridge between your desire and its manifestation. Without trust, the signal stays scrambled. When you trust, you open. And when you open, you become magnetic. Things begin to flow, not because you're chasing them, but because you've become a space they feel safe entering. Trust clears the clutter that pushes your blessings away. Doubt builds walls. Trust opens doors. Every time you question if you're worthy, you close a little more. But when you choose to trust, even when you're scared, you begin to rewire your reality from the inside out. Trust doesn't mean you never worry. It means you choose not to live there. It means you acknowledge fear without letting it lead. You say, "I see the uncertainty, and I walk forward anyway." That's courage. That's how you receive. You don't get what you want by clenching. You get it by allowing. Trust softens the grip of control. It removes resistance and makes room for divine timing to do its work. You can't grab the future if your fists are closed with fear. Trust requires patience, and patience is often misunderstood. It's not about sitting still. It's about moving in peace, knowing you don't need to rush. It's about showing up aligned, not frantic. Calm faith is louder than loud effort. Many block their blessings because they still carry the story that they don't deserve them. That's why healing your self-worth is part of learning to receive. You don't just attract what you want, you attract what you believe you're worthy of. The universe will never force you to receive. It waits for your readiness, and readiness looks like trust. It sounds like inner stillness. It feels like quiet confidence that whispers, "I am ready for what's mine." Every time you choose trust over doubt, you shift timelines. You align yourself with the version of you who already has what you're asking for. Trust isn't just emotional, it's energetic. It recalibrates what you're a match for. You've been through enough to know what forcing feels like. Now it's time to learn the rhythm of flow. You don't have to grip anymore. You just have to prepare your space, your energy, your mind. Because trust creates room and receiving needs room. You don't need to convince the universe. You just need to align. Your job isn't to force delivery. It's to live in a way that shows you believe it's coming. Your routines, your boundaries, your focus, they all become proof of trust. Trust isn't passive waiting. It's active alignment. It's showing up every day with the energy of someone who knows their time is near. It's how you walk, how you speak, how you keep going without proof, because the proof is already within you. If it hasn't arrived yet, it doesn't mean it won't. It might just mean you're still being shaped into someone who can hold it. Trust says, even delays are divine. Trust says, if it's mine, I don't have to beg for it. You were never meant to carry the weight of the how. That belongs to something higher. Your role is to hold the vision, take aligned steps, and stay open. When you try to do it all alone, you block what's trying to help you. There's a version of you who already lives the life you're dreaming about. Trust connects you to them. Every time you choose peace over panic, every time you respond instead of react, you're syncing up with that reality. Trust doesn't need applause. It works quietly, silently rewriting your energy until everything starts to shift. You'll notice more ease, more synchronicity, more peace. That's not coincidence. It's the effect of alignment. Don't just hope, expect. That's what trust looks like. It's not wishful thinking, it's grounded belief. It's preparing the table before the guests arrive. It's opening the window before the breeze comes in. Receiving isn't luck, it's the natural response to readiness. And readiness is built on trust. Without trust, even blessings feel stressful. With trust, everything becomes softer, even the waiting. You've come too far to give up now. So keep trusting, keep clearing space, keep becoming the version of you who's already ready. Because what you want is on the way, it's just looking for a place it can land safely. And when it arrives, you'll realize it wasn't the thing that changed your life. It was who you became while you waited. It was the trust you built, the energy you held, the faith you refused to drop. That's what truly opens the gates. You don't need all the answers to move forward. You only need enough faith to take the next step. Trust doesn't eliminate uncertainty, but it quiets your reaction to it. You begin to realize that peace doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from trusting that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Trust is not built in moments of clarity, but in moments of confusion. When life doesn't make sense and you still believe something greater is guiding you, that's when trust is forged. Every storm you survive deepens your roots. You're not fragile. You're growing stronger in silence. When you stop obsessing over outcomes, you start noticing beauty in the process. You realize that joy doesn't have to wait for arrival, it lives in every moment you choose to stay aligned. Trust teaches you that fulfillment isn't in the destination, it's in the vibration you hold along the way. People will question your calm. They'll wonder why you're not panicking, but that's because they haven't seen what trust can do. They haven't walked with faith long enough to know how powerful it feels to surrender without giving up. That's your gift. Don't let them shake it. You're allowed to want big things. You're allowed to dream boldly. But don't let your desire turn into anxiety. Want it. Prepare for it. But trust that it will come when it's meant when you demand it. That difference in energy changes everything. Sometimes trust looks like walking away from what's familiar, from what's draining, from what no longer aligns, even if it's scary, even if you don't know what's next. Because trust whispers, there's something better, but you need to make space for it first. Not everything will arrive when you want it to, but everything will arrive when you're ready. And often, that readiness comes through letting go of fear, of timelines, of needing constant signs. When you trust deeply, you don't chase signs. You become the sign. Trust doesn't beg for proof. It creates it. Every day you choose to believe in your growth, in your worth, in your direction. You write evidence that you're on the right path. You're not waiting for life to show you something. You are showing life who you are becoming. The longer you live in doubt, the heavier everything feels. Trust is the relief you didn't know you needed. It's the deep breath after a long season of holding on too tight. It reminds you, you don't have to carry it all. Some things are already being handled for you. You're not late, you're not behind, you're not forgotten. These are lies that fear repeats. Trust says, right on time. Trust says, every delay had purpose. Trust says, you didn't miss anything. You're just being molded into the version of you who can hold it. Every closed door wasn't a rejection. It was protection, a redirection, a divine no that's making space for the right yes. When you trust, you stop viewing detours as disasters. You start seeing them as upgrades in disguise. Trust is a daily practice, not a one-time decision. Some days it's easy. Some days it's a fight. But if you keep choosing it, especially on the hard days, you'll begin to notice a quiet transformation. You'll carry less fear. You'll walk with more certainty. You'll glow with calm. You can't fake trust. The universe feels your energy. That's why saying, I believe, means nothing if you live in constant panic. Real trust shows up in how you breathe, how you rest, how you speak to yourself. It's a quiet power that shifts everything you touch. You were never meant to live in survival mode. Trust invites you to thrive. It lifts you from frantic energy and brings you back into flow. You don't need to prove your worth. You don't need to earn what's already aligned. You just need to allow it. Imagine if you fully trusted that what you're asking for is already yours. How would you act today? What would you stop worrying about? What energy would you carry? That's the frequency you must live in now. Not someday now. When you let go of needing to control the outcome, you become lighter, more joyful, more magnetic. People feel it. Opportunities notice it. Trust creates a ripple that moves through everything you do. And that's how receiving becomes natural. Not everyone will understand your faith. Some will call it foolish, but let them talk. Because while they speak fear, you're building your future. Quietly, powerfully, with alignment as your guide and trust as your foundation. Trust doesn't make you passive, it makes you powerful. You stop wasting energy on things that drain you. You stop fighting battles that were never yours. You conserve your strength for what truly matters, showing up in your truth every single day. The truth is, the universe responds fastest to those who stop resisting, the ones who say, I trust, and mean it, the ones who do the work, then release the weight. The ones who know their energy is already enough. They don't chase, they attract. And in the end, it's not just about receiving things, it's about becoming the person who lives with peace no matter what. The kind of person who doesn't just believe in divine timing but embodies it. Who doesn't just want the blessing but feels worthy of it. So if you're in a waiting season, breathe. You are not abandoned. You are not overlooked. You are being refined, strengthened, aligned. And when it's time, when you're ready, you'll realize it wasn't about the thing. It was about who you became on the way. The energy of trust is the highest frequency you can hold. It speaks to the universe without a single word. And when you hold it long enough, you won't just receive what you asked for, you'll receive what you never imagined was possible. Chapter 12. You're not lost. You're being redirected. Sometimes, life closes a door not to punish you, but to protect you from what you can't yet see. You might feel stuck, confused, or abandoned, but you are not lost. You are being rerouted. Life is moving pieces in silence, shaping a better outcome than the one you were chasing. What feels like a detour is often divine direction. The delay you're frustrated about might be saving you from a bigger disappointment. It's hard to see the full picture when you're inside the storm, but trust something greater is always guiding the wind. You're not being punished for wanting more. You're being prepared to receive it the right way. The universe doesn't respond to desperation, it responds to alignment. And sometimes, alignment means pulling you back to reposition your path. There's a reason that relationship ended. There's a reason the opportunity slipped away. Not everything that falls apart is a loss sometimes. It's a release. A release from what wasn't truly meant for your long-term growth. The discomfort you're feeling isn't failure, it's transformation. Growth rarely feels graceful when you're inside it. But the chaos you're facing may just be the unmaking of the old version of you so the real one can rise. Let go of the idea that you need to have it all figured out. You don't. You only need the courage to trust the redirection. Most people give up at the bend in the road. You're not most people. You're learning to pivot with grace. The job didn't work out. The plan didn't go through. Good, because what's ahead doesn't require the version of you that made those plans. It requires who you're becoming through this process of surrender. Every time you think you're being delayed, remind yourself, you're actually being upgraded. The setback isn't a stop, it's a setup for something richer, deeper, wiser. Trust that the path you're being pulled toward has purpose even if it's hidden right now. Redirection feels like confusion when you still want what's behind you. But the moment you release your grip on the past, the road ahead becomes clearer. Peace enters when resistance exits. You were never meant to walk a straight line. The most meaningful paths are rarely linear. They're winding, wild, and beautifully unpredictable, and they lead you not just to outcomes but to awakening. If you're doubting everything, pause, breathe. You're not failing, you're flowing. You just haven't arrived yet. The journey is still unfolding, and the timing is not your enemy, it's your ally. Stop calling it a mistake. Start calling it movement. Forward doesn't always look like speed. Sometimes, forward is stillness, reflection, healing, all of which position you for a quantum leap later. You are not stuck. You are being taught patience, faith, and intuition. The universe is training your inner world to hold the weight of what's coming. And that training often looks like confusion before clarity. Doors are closing so that better ones can open, not easier. Better, ones that match your energy, ones that demand your growth, ones that lead to places your old self couldn't even imagine. The pain you feel now is shaping a strength you'll need later. Don't run from it, learn from it, let it polish your purpose, let it shape your awareness. The most powerful souls are always refined through fire. There's a bigger plan at play that your mind can't calculate but your soul can feel. When you stop trying to control the route, you start noticing the signs, synchronicities, nudges, gut feelings. That's the language of redirection. You're not forgotten. The universe is not ignoring you. It's rearranging pieces you can't yet see. Your delay is not denial, it's design. And the design is more beautiful than your mind can hold right now. You didn't lose time. You gained wisdom. You didn't fall behind. You stepped out of alignment for a moment, and now you're being nudged back. That nudge may look like chaos, but it's actually a course correction. You were never meant to follow someone else's map. You are creating your own. With every decision, every lesson, every moment of surrender, you are building a path that's entirely yours. Trust the reroute. It's not rejection. It's redirection with a higher intention. If you could see what's being prepared behind the scenes, you'd stop worrying. You'd start smiling. Because you'd realize you're headed somewhere far greater than you planned. So if you're lost right now, let this be your reminder. You are not. You are being led. Every twist, every turn, every delay is part of the orchestration. You may not understand it yet, but soon it will all make sense. And when it does, when you finally arrive, you'll look back and realize that everything made you. The redirections, the detours, the delays, they didn't break you. They built you. They didn't confuse your path. They revealed it. The universe often works in silence. It doesn't need to explain why certain things fell apart. You'll only understand in hindsight when clarity replaces confusion and peace takes the place of panic. That's when you'll realize the redirection wasn't random, it was sacred. When nothing feels stable, that's when the deepest alignment is happening. Old beliefs are cracking, old patterns are dying. You're not lost, you're shedding layers. You're peeling away the noise to finally hear your truth without distortion. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means giving in to something wiser. It means trusting that the force that created you didn't bring you this far to abandon you in the middle. There is still more for you. You just can't carry the old weight into the next chapter. Your confusion is temporary, but the strength you're building through it is permanent. You're learning to navigate by faith, not sight, and that kind of trust creates an inner power no setback can ever take away. We spend so much time trying to figure it all out that we miss the simplicity of flow. Sometimes the only plan you need is to stay aligned, stay available, and stay open. The rest unfolds when it's meant to. A closed door isn't rejection, it's redirection away from misalignment. The no you received might have been the best protection of your life. Had you forced it open, you might have entered a space that would have drained your light. In the space between endings and new beginnings, there's a sacred pause. Honor it. Don't rush through it. That pause is where wisdom grows. It's where your next level is quietly preparing you to step in fully. Nothing is random. Every delay has divine fingerprints on it. Every missed opportunity might have been mercy in disguise. You are always being redirected to exactly what your soul needs. 7. If your ego doesn't like it. You're not meant to understand every redirection immediately. Some things make sense only after you've healed. Some blessings arrive only after you've made space by letting go of what was never yours to begin with. You are not off track. You're simply on a track that requires deeper faith, sharper discernment, and more trust than ever before. This is not punishment. It's preparation for something far more aligned with your essence. When you stop trying to control the outcome, you unlock new possibilities. Surrender doesn't mean you're passive, means you're trusting life to do what your limited plans couldn't imagine. Every painful pivot is pulling you closer to your true self. What looked like rejection from the outside was redirection from the inside. And the more you trust the flow, the more miracles find their way in. The version of you that's forming through all this is powerful, wiser, more intuitive, able to see what doesn't belong, and brave enough to walk away from it. That's what redirection creates. Not weakness, but clarity. If your life is shifting, don't resist. Ask what it's trying to teach you. There's a lesson inside every disruption. There's gold inside the chaos. But you'll only find it if you stop clinging to how things used to be. The pain you feel from being lost is real, but so is the power you gain by trusting the process. You're being invited to grow roots before you grow branches, to ground yourself in patience, stillness, and vision. No one else has your map. They won't understand your redirections. Stop seeking permission to evolve. What feels crazy to others might be clarity to your soul, and that's more than enough. You're not behind your becoming, and sometimes becoming looks like undoing, letting go, redirecting energy from proving to simply being. That's where true alignment lives. Start speaking life into your redirection. Say, I am not off path. I am being reshaped, recalled, realigned. Everything I thought I lost is being replaced with something better, something I'm actually meant for. You are not your mistakes. You are the awareness that grew from them. Redirection doesn't erase your path, it upgrades your perspective. You're seeing now with clearer eyes. Don't ignore what life is revealing. Breathe deep. The storm won't last, but what you gain from enduring it will stay with you forever. That's the irony of redirection. It feels like loss, but it's actually a gift wrapped in confusion. The answers you seek are already forming, just not in the way you expected. Stay patient. Keep moving with grace. Your redirection will become your revelation. And one day, this detour will become your most meaningful story. You're not lost, my friend. You're arriving, quietly, powerfully, one unshaken step at a time. If this message reached you, it was meant for you. Let this be your reminder that you don't need to force what's already aligned. The more you trust, the more life flows. The more you release, the more you receive. You are not behind. You are being guided. Thank you for listening. And remember, what's meant for you is already making its way to you. Stay aligned. Stay open. Stay peaceful.